You're always champion until you decide to say, no, I'm just a retired champion.
So, you know, and that goes back to practice, really. Role play, scripting, practicing your presentation, practicing on the clients. You know, champions don't just, you know, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they weren't just doing foul shots when they were winning all the time. They were doing foul shots when they were losing, when they were on the ascension. That's right.
Big it up, big it up. Yep. Leave him up. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
Welcome to Let's Talk Real with Mel. We're here with the AJ Plant, who is a regional owner with Exit Realty Corp on the Eastern Ontario territory, which extends all the way over almost, he said, about 15 miles from Toronto.
Yeah, close to Toronto. Yeah, from the Quebec border to close to Toronto.
All right, and he's got 16 franchises under his domain and growing, plenty of agents. And now you said something earlier before, and I want to touch on it before I forget. You said you have franchises, you have brokerages doing 3,000 transactions in an area with only 90,000.
Well, right across Canada, in my region, my offices are doing north of 1,500. In the east coast of Canada, there's an office there, Moncton, New Brunswick, that's over 3,000 with a 90,000 population. We have offices where the agents are doing up north in Kristen Tremvinsky's territory. She does the same thing as me. Her office is doing 33 or 36 transactions per agent, #1 market share, and they're 1/4 of the board. And this is not a one-off. All of our offices are in the top 3. There's not an office that's not.
So that's like, for market share, I mean, you're dominating.
Yeah, if you're looking at and this is what's important, if you're looking at the transactions per agent, income per agent, residual income per agent, we're #1, 10x.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you're looking at number of agents, we don't dominate the boards in most territories, but per agent, cash in your jeans, we are the best.
And I think that's important to note. So there are a lot of, you know, everyone knows that I'm an Exit franchisee. I love Exit. I bleed teal. But I talk to people and meet with people and network definitely with people from all different brands. And if you're looking at, like you said, dollars in your pocket, per agent production, you know, you can be in an office or you can grow an office with lots of agent count. And I've had that personally, you know, but are the agents actually working at the end of the day? And so what do you think the difference? I mean, what do you do differently? How can you have an office that has, you know, like 300 agents and another office that has 50 agents, and the office with 50 agents do more than the 300? I mean, what do you attribute that? What are you doing that's different?
So the first thing is I'm just using the tools that are available to me with Exit Realty. Our founder, Steve Morris, he said very blunt when the first time I met him, is that the agents are the foundation of everything. The agents are what's #1. So now, being agent-centric, you're always trying to build up the agents, right? You get the good agents, guess what? You get the good business, you get the good return on investment, you get the good bottom line. So the focus is on the good agents. Now, the agents that are newer or that are struggling, now we can't save everyone, but we can help them.
Okay.
And the agents that are brand new or just there, but they're just not in the right environment, when we bring them in and they understand that we're there to help them and our focus is on them, it's not on me, it's on them, then they rise to the occasion. And that's a mindset shift that no other company has. It's not rah. It's, I'm getting into your brain. I'm going to rearrange the work, the stuff that's going on there, and get you to understand that you have the potential to be great to whatever level you want to be. That's where it starts. And then we have the Exit formula. As you know, it's the only company where you can earn more than 10%. But once you get that, the top 20 or 30% that clue in, and they realize that now I have a future for me, for my family, past death, how can you not succeed?
Right. That's good. So it's a bit of a. I mean, it's some work. It's a little bit of a mind.
Oh yeah, no, it's super easy. I do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
work. You gotta still work, right?
So okay, so yeah, because
you gotta work.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, regardless of where they go, they get into real estate and they just see HGTV.
Yeah.
And it does a good job of let you know what you have to do every day, right? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, it is actually work. It's not all caviar and champagne.
That's right.
It's mostly not caviar and champagne. It's mostly getting up early, staying up late, and actually just putting in the work.
That's right.
And I think that's with anything, whether it's real estate business, whether it's a restaurant, a beauty salon, whatever business it is, you do have to do the work.
And you got to remember that what happens is that people forget, they set their goals, right? And they think that the goal is the happiness. Oh, I hit my goal. Now I'm happy. Well, it's the process. I'm not a fan of the, I'm on a journey, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, a journey is throwing a cork in a pool and watching it float, or setting up a boat in the water and seeing where it goes, right? That's a journey. The process is what you have to fall in love with. The process of getting up, doing your calls, following up your clients, helping individuals. The process is the magic. The goal is just the goal. And you gotta have a direction to go where you're going. But the process, if you can, or process in the southern states maybe, the process is what you fall in love with. And the biggest challenge I see, which is the biggest opportunity, as our co-founder Tammy Bonnell says, is that agents, whatever company, they don't set their goals high enough. Yet you almost have to set your goals so high that they're unachievable.
Oh, you think?
Why not?
Yeah, expanding I do an exercise in the office called, big circle, little circle.
Yeah.
Most of us live in this little circle of basically self-limiting beliefs. And so, one of my mentors, Tom Ferry, always says, you're not thinking big enough.
That's good. That's good.
You're not thinking big enough.
Yeah, say hi to Tom for me.
Oh,
that's how I got my cold calling career started in 2004 with Tom Ferry.
Oh, really?
And that's how I met Chris Clare.
Okay.
And that's how I introduced Chris Clare to Exit.
Wow, small world. See, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I'm helping Americans as much as I'm helping Canadians.
I was actually in San Diego last week at a team event with Tom. And
he's amazing. That's where I met Chris Clare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he called me up and he says, I kept saying, you got to join Exit, but there's no Exit office in California. Got to join. And he calls, I said, well, you're going to buy a franchise. And he calls me up. And Chris, Chris, he's a character. And he calls me and he says, I got an opportunity to buy a franchise. I said, if you don't buy the franchise, don't call me again. You're dead to me. And I hung up on him. And I was like, oh, I don't know what it is.
Right.
And then he called me back and he's like, it's
done.
Now he's got 7 offices. Super successful guy. He's like rock star, like unbelievable individual. Wow. Yeah. I thrive to be as good as him. Or I strive to be as good as him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So tell me on the topic of, let's talk real. I'm sure, and I don't want to rewind actually. Before I do that, when did you first, this was 2004, right? So we're going on 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So over the 20 years, I think it's fortunately you were able to see the boom and then live through the, and push through. I actually think they were fortunate to have been able to do that because, more than, about 60% of all agents have only been licensed since 2010.
That's right.
So they don't even know, it's only been going up.
Yeah, it's
good.
And gravy.
And if you feed into the media, the Canada real estate market has been crashing for like 17 years, right?
Well, there's, I don't know where Canada's been like really, we're grateful. It's been like,
but the media, what have you,
But it's crazy because I don't know, everybody's making money. It seems to be going good.
But if you subscribe to the headlines, which, unfortunately, some agents, even in our business and our company, are subscribing to the headlines. They're doing themselves and doing their clients a disservice, as opposed to focus on the local market.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So normally we have the quote of the day, but AJ's going to give us the quote of the day.
So this is the only quote I've invented. It's the only one I have.
Okay.
Right. So I know that now that I've said it to you, I'm going to say it to you. It's going to go out to the world and no one can steal it. So there are more ways to make money than there actually is money in the world.
All right. There are more ways to make money than there actually is money in the world. You heard it here first. AJ Plant. That's our quote of the day.
And there's a lot of ways that it's interesting because 2004 was actually, well, let's say 2005 was like the pandemic years, 2 years.
Yeah.
There were multiple offers. It was busy. It was nuts. And then we fell into 2007, 2008. Well, we felt it in Canada, but it wasn't the same. because the banking system is different.
Yeah.
And then we go through the pandemic and everybody's making money. And then I'm just thinking that, it's for the top 20% or 10% or whatever stat you want to use for the full-time agents. It's just like, okay, now I can call my investors because there's going to be some deals. Oh, market's hot. Well, then I'm going to get my investors that have stuff and see if they can cash in. So when it goes down, then
They get
so the ones that are the champions are always champion. You can, it's funny because I saw those series on Michael Jordan, these guys, and then I watched this movie called Amistad. Anyways, and there's a line in it that says, when you're king, you can't not be king. When you're president, you're always president. And when you're a champion, you're always champion.
Right.
And that's how the champions think. Doesn't matter the market because it's between the ears, as Bill Nasby says or said. You're always champion until you decide to say, no, I'm just a retired champion.
So you throw it out. Yeah, and that's what people. It's so and that goes back to practice, really, role play, scripting, practicing your presentation, not practicing on the clients. Champions don't just Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. They weren't just doing foul shots when they were winning
all the time.
They were doing foul shots when they were losing, when they were on the ascension.
That's right. And you know from experience that it's a simple business. Find a buyer, find a willing seller, put them together, do a deal, get paid. But it's the simple things, right? Get up in the morning, do what you got to do, practice your scripts. You got to memorize them, internalize them, and then personalize them. If you look on my phone, I have the elevator speech on there. I got 60 Minutes on there. I got stuff that Joyce Baron's told me over the years on there. I got stuff from Tom Ferry, Bill Nasby. I know my scripts. And people, oh, you're so good at it. No, I grinded it out and I looked like a fool 100 times before I said it right.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. And if you could just get, out of this talk we're doing, if the people that are listening could just get one thing, become an expert at something. And if that's scripts, if you can become an expert at one or two scripts, and that's all you were an expert at, you're going to do 80% better than you did the year before. Just to be able to respond to people. So how's the market? Well, where do you live? Right? Oh, I live here. Oh, what neighborhood? Oh, what street? When do you plan on moving? How long have you lived there? Where'd you move from? You could move. Where'd you move to? When would that be? And have that conversation and understand how that language, how that communication works. Just that, you're going to add a zero to your income. Just that.
Yeah, but I think, but a lot of people want to try to do a little bit, on their business card. I specialize in first-time home buyers, investors, home sellers, luxury, rentals. Like, you can't be, one size fits all. I think when you drill deep in, like you said, be an expert at one thing and then move to the next thing.
That's it.
And then be an expert in that.
That's right. So it's an interesting dynamic with real estate because people have a tendency to overcomplicate, myself included. I've gone all over the place. I was talking to some young agents the other day or last night, and I said, look, at the only thing I'm really good at, the only things is I'm good at grinding it out, which is like wrong, but I can grind it out, get up early, grind it, be told no 100,000 times, and I keep grinding it out, and I know how to talk to strangers. That's really all I'm good at. I'm good at talking, chatting.
Right.
That's it. So once I realized that if I just stay in that lane and be an expert at that, then all of a sudden things started to happen. But do this, do that. It's too much. It's just too much. One or two things.
Yeah, well, you're good at a lot. I mean, you're on the stage getting awards. I said your name like 4 times back to back in 4 different categories. So I mean, you
One, three. Yeah.
been doing more than one.
I'm very grateful to have that.
But-
Yeah, that's
So what's the kind of the craziest or wildest situation that you've seen? Whether it was a client situation, whether it was an agent scenario. What tell us, share a story like that, like a real.
No, I grew up in to Canada, Ottawa standards, where I live in Ottawa, a really rough neighborhood. So I got a lot of crazy stories, but I have one story that really like pierced my heart. Now I don't sell real estate very much anymore. The odd friends, my family members, like, hey, Jay, but there was this 2 years ago, there was a family and my friend begged me to work with them. And it was impossible for them to get this house in their price range, in the neighborhood, market's at its peak. And this little girl, the family's from Romania. And she had a cute little accent. She says, I want a house with a star in her accent. I want a house with a star. I can't do the accent. And okay, whatever. And mom kind of dismissed it. And so we went around, saw houses. We put an offer on a house, and impossible to get. Like everyone was 20, 50, 100,000 over asking. We went in at asking. And for some strange reason, I tried to put letters. We got the house. I don't know why. Anyways, we go to the house and we walk by, and the little girl, about 5 years old, looks up at the garage, detached garage, and there's about three times the size of a basketball hoop, a big bronze star. Wow. On the garage. And she looks up and she says, thank you for getting my star house. And she walks into the house. And I look at the mother and the father, and what? And the realtor and the seller were there from the other side. And I said, has this star been here the whole time? They're like, yeah, it's been here since our grandfather built the house. And we wanted to ask you, is it okay if we leave it here? And then I told them the story of the little girl. And they said, you know what? Your offer was lower than everyone's. It was not a very good offer, but there was something that just kept saying, we want this family. And they never met them to have this house.
Wow.
So that got me even more motivated to focus on selling franchises, because if I can open more markets, and if I can get more solid brokers and more real estate agents and tell that story, I can help so many people through them. And it just goes to show that innocence, looking up and saying, I want a house with a star. And then when she got there, she looked up as if it was expected. She assumed the position, and she's like, oh, thank you for this house, the star house, and walked back in. And it's not a crazy story, but it's a story that, made me realize that this business, because it's so personal, we have the opportunity to help so many great people. And if I could help 1 billion people, imagine how I'm going to feel on my deathbed, knowing that in my own little corner of the universe, I was able to help more people than I could ever imagine.
Right. And I think, and that's a good point. I think, and I get the two things from that story. One is what you're saying in terms of working as a regional owner and selling in franchise sales. As an agent, you can help 50, 100 families a year, as a solo person. But if you could get 5 or 10 franchises and they all have 30, 50, and then they each are helping 50, 100. I mean, it's exponential.
It never stops
in terms of how many lives you can actually affect.
And I clued into, I got to stay in my lane and be focused, from a 5-year-old girl from another country.
Yeah. And I'll say that's faith. I mean, and we could all learn a lesson from that, in that if at 5 years old, innocence, she knew what she wanted, and in her way, she affected the outcome of the transaction in her way. You could do that at 5, at 35, at 55.
And imagine if you knew about it.
Yeah, we're a little more jaded.
Yeah.
Say, oh, it'll never happen. I know that's what I want. We can almost talk ourselves out of it because, we're the lowest offer. We'll never get it. I mean, watch.
Oh, the parents were like, okay, just do the offer. What the heck, Okay, we'll do the offer. But the little girl, she knew this was her house, and I didn't even know. I didn't even notice the star. That was what blew my mind. And the little girl, she didn't see the star either. She wasn't there on the showing.
That's pretty cool. That's a cool story.
So that's my story.
Well, let me ask you, if we wanted to, well, before I do, what do you do outside of real estate? I mean, you can't do real estate all the time, but what do you?
Yeah, so my wife owns a dental office. She's like some super amazing business person, runs a successful dental office. My 19-year-old son plays junior A hockey, and he's studying to be a doctor. He's in kinesiology. My 17-year-old is hardest worker by far I've ever seen in my life. This summer, she made like 15 grand shoveling stuff for horses and working part-time jobs, and works like a dog, and she wants to get into business, which is great. And she horseback
got
guide.
work out for it.
12-year-old, she's actually playing hockey right now. She plays soccer, volleyball, and she lights up a room like you wouldn't believe. She walks in and everyone loves her. And then my 6-year-old, she is just she does hockey and soccer, but like an Energizer bunny, never stops. Just go, 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 go. So that's my
Cool. So 19, 17, 13, and 6.
and 6.
You got
12 and 6.
So you got 4 like me.
4 like that. So there, yeah. So that's where my love is. On the side, my wife over the pandemic, just before the pandemic, she said I had to get a hobby. So I decided to buy a hockey team in Gatineau, and it's junior A. It's like the USBHL here in the US.
Okay.
And yeah, we got 27 volunteers working, and they're actually playing tonight. So if we win tonight, we break about 500. So I'm pretty excited for the team.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and I got great coaches, GM, and great partners, and so that's what I do for fun.
That's pretty cool. I mean, when I'm thinking you might pick up a little golf or something. You're buying hockey teams for fun. That's good stuff. So if I wanted to either start or knew someone, and let's say we're watching this and you say, hey, I want to, it sounds like a great area, Eastern Ontario. I live in that area. I'm an agent in that area, or maybe I want to be an agent, or I'm a broker or associate broker. I want to maybe own my own business, open a franchise, explore that market. How are we reaching?
Yeah, so the easiest way of AJ Plant on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, AJ Plant.
Okay.
You can get my mobile business card if you type in 85377 where the phone number goes,
Okay.
and in the message you do AJ Plant, AJ Plant, one word, and send that off. You get my mobile business card, and you can also just give me a call, 613-266-4911. I don't know, do people make phone calls anymore?
They do. They're probably more likely to send you a message on Instagram.
Or text me at that number.
Yeah. And so we can do a couple things. We can send a text to 85377, text AJ Plan or AJ Plan on all the social channels. And then, or you said we can call or text you directly. What was that number again?
613-266-4911.
All right. Well, you're doing an awesome job
I appreciate you.
spreading the word, spreading.
Thank you for this.
Investing agents. I mean, that's what's most important, changing lives. I love the story about the little girl.
Right on. And you know what? If things were any better for me, I'd probably be you.
Oh, well, I like that. We'll close on that. Thanks, AJ.